Okay, hello. I was about to say welcome to my YouTube channel, but yeah, I'm not going to say that. Um, Today I learned something, and although I learned like some weeks ago the same lesson was something I learned in January, but I didn't really like take it seriously. And then about 2 weeks ago or so, I was talking to this mentor I started speaking with about certain things, career, life generally, and spiritual stuff and like that. And he was like, "Oh, you do good work." I mean, from the little I shared, and then he's like, "But you need to work on getting to do this good work faster and talking about it like um, let me say blowing the trumpet about the good work you've done." So yeah, let's go through it. Memory lane. I'm so terrible at doing this YouTube thing, but I'm trying to do videos that I'm not going to edit, and I'm just going to post them the way they are and expect that people will just listen and follow to the end. I don't know if it's going to work because like I see a lot of YouTube videos like there's editing, there's stuff moving from up to down, and then there's like this big bold text, and I don't know if I want to do my videos like that yet. Or maybe because I just don't know how to edit videos yet. I learned how to edit videos a while back, but I did not finish learning. So here I am. Okay, anyways, so sometime early this year, I learned that it is very vital, aside doing good work at your place of work, it is very vital to blow your trumpets. It's important that people working with you get to know the kind of work you're doing. I want to pause this video so I can wear my wristwatch, but yeah, forget it. So yeah, fast forward, I think around 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was speaking to my mentor about like something that happened at work recently. We had this 2 week stretch where we had to like do a lot of work, and at first I wasn't sleeping very late. I mean, just working at a regular pace, and then towards the end I realized that, oh, okay, I'm going to have to put in more energy if I want to see like certain things happen, right? And then I did, and I noticed some things didn't really go. Some things went on like on the ground that not everybody knew about, but I knew. And so immediately after the whole 2 weeks thing, I spoke with my mentor and I'm like, "Hey boss, so this happened and that happened," and then he's like, "You're doing somewhat of a good job, but then you need to, one, do it faster, and two, do it in such a way that when you're done, you get to talk about it and get other people to understand the weight of what you did." So this video is really getting long. Anyways, we're just going to talk about visibility very quick. So I'm currently running an MBA program at Lagos Business School, and today in school, today's 23rd of June, and it's 10:53 p.m. So I'm literally recording this at night, and I'm trying to do it very fast before I get back to work and then I go to sleep. And we were talking about visibility. So we were discussing this case where there's two guys at a workplace, and one of them is very good at his job, like he's diligent. He is quite an interesting character because he puts in the work. He's a thinker, right? So he takes his time to think. Although the manager ended up calling him slow in decision making, well, I agree with her because the guy was pretty slow to me. So yeah, wait, my camera angle is, yeah, okay. So this guy is like really good at his job, right? And he thinks deeply about stuff. He weighs all the possible failure points. He takes his time to fully understand the situation, gets data about what he's about to make a decision on, right? I mean, all the possible decision making steps you can follow in this life, he takes his time to follow them step by step. And then there's this other guy, very spontaneous. Like, he thinks about it and immediately does it. And then immediately he's doing, like, the moment he's done doing it, whether it's successful or it fails, everybody gets to know about it, right? So he doesn't do as, I don't think he does as much as the first guy. So let's say, let's call the first guy Shegun, and let's call the second guy Joseph, right? So Shegun is very quiet about his achievements at the workplace, and he just keeps working, and his focus is, I want my work to speak for me, right? And then there's Joseph, who, I mean, just like Joseph in the Bible now, gets a coat of many colors, and the entire village the entire village knows about it. I mean, essentially, it's in the workplace, right? I got to learn that it is not bad if you do 10 things in a day. It is important that every stakeholder that is connected to your promotion, your bonuses, every stakeholder that's connected to your growth in the organization basically gets to have a hint that, okay, this is what this person has done, right? Not like in a way where you're jumping and being forward and telling everybody, oh, I did this. No, but like, at every opportunity you get to talk about certain things you've done, right, you should try to drop a hint. Take, for example, so before I give my example, I want to talk about myself, right? So I started working in 2020 as a software engineer with Aristack Solutions. These guys are like very good with treasury systems, and they focus on Calypso Treasury. So banks and you get financial institutions use them. And while I was there, I was just a junior dev, or let's say an intern, basically, because I only knew how to code. I learned Java from like 2015, so I knew how to code. I knew how to write integrations. I knew how to, if you asked me to do something, right, I could build it in Java and deliver it. But I had not had like a professional application, like a real world scenario where my code has to run on production, right? So I knew how to write the code. I had written quite a number of applications and put on my GitHub, and I feel like that's even part of what got me the job, being able to learn on my own and then put it out there in public. And at the time where I went for the interview, I was given about 2 questions or so, and then one was to write a Spring Boot application to save user record, retrieve records, and I did it anyways. And while I was at that job, one thing I noticed was I was trying to learn very fast, right? I had a senior engineer on the team who was a very, very visible person. I'm not going to call his name. So he was very visible in the sense that if he does, let's take for example, I'm trying to make this as layman as possible. So let's say he processes, let's say for example my office prepares burgers for customers, and let's say this senior developer processes 2 burgers in 1 hour. Now the entire organization by the next day will know the amount of burgers he processed for the previous day and how difficult it was to process that amount of burgers, and the amount of hours it took him to process that amount of burgers, and what he would be doing today. So not like he's trying to exaggerate or anything, right? But he's just trying to make it clear to you that this is the amount of work I put in to deliver this result yesterday. Now there was me, an intern, right? I wasn't doing as much as I was doing in the beginning. But the issue there was I was doing it so that my work can speak for me. Yeah. So what does this mean? Take for example, I processed 10 burgers yesterday, And then by the next day, when my senior dev is saying he processed 25 burgers and it took him 14 hours, and one of the burgers was so difficult to process, he had to do some research, Google some things, try to use ChatGPT to even generate some of the source code to process that burger. And then there is me who is just going to be quiet and be like, okay, we resolved the issues we had yesterday, and then today we're going to be focusing on this. And that was it. I wouldn't say more than that. So yeah. Now, what was wrong with what I was doing at the time and what I've learned now is 2 years down the line, my boss was, everybody in the organization knew, like my colleagues knew that I was doing a lot of work, right? But it wasn't visible to my boss. My boss just felt like, yeah, he solved the problem yesterday. Or a customer complained about this, and John has fixed it for them, and that's it, right? It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault, because I got to understand that as an employee in any organization, right, you are supposed to be the one to sell what you're doing. You're supposed to sell your value to your employer. Let me put it in a more friendly way. You're supposed to help your employer see the value you are contributing to the organization. Reason why you should do this is your employer is busy with 1 million other things every other day, right? Now, when they don't see the value, sorry, my shirt's a little bit bigger than me. Ignore. When your employer doesn't see the value you are adding to the organization, two things happen. First, they start seeing you as not productive, or what is this person exactly doing? Secondly, when there are new opportunities or new challenges, they don't remember you. And what that does is you'll be missing out of a lot. I'm going to use myself as an example again. So, fast forward to 2022, there was a new project, and because I had learned this stuff for the past 2 years, right, you would expect that for a new project, I should be in forefront, talking to the clients, explaining to them what we have to do and how we're going to go about it, because I knew these things. I could come up with a full architecture diagram of what we wanted to do and how we aim to achieve it. In fact, I could go as far as doing research on how best to present it to the client, right? But because there was really no visibility, there was really no measure. I'm talking from my boss's perspective now. He couldn't confidently say, you, John, take care of this in public, because he didn't know the extent to which I would usually go to get things done. So he couldn't really weigh my ability. What am I doing, love sign? Sorry, I get distracted a lot. Okay, now, he couldn't weigh my ability to do certain things, and then so whenever we had a project, that's like 2 years down the line at the same job, I was getting regular raises. Almost every quarter or half year, I was getting raises, although very small, but the raises just meant that, okay, you're actually actively doing something, even though we can't really measure what you're doing, but we know you're doing something. It's just that it's not really clear to us how much impact you're making, right? So while my senior dev kept having less things to do as I grew, and his income kept growing, I kept having more things to do, and my income was not really following how much I had to do at the time. I can't really blame my boss, because it's not entirely his fault, although but at the same time, it was my responsibility I was young though, so I wouldn't have known all this. It was my responsibility to make sure that he understands what I was doing and how much work I had to put into doing that, right? So back to my class today, we got to understand that visibility is not an option, because most of the time when you're new, when you're at the base level of an organization, so probably the base level of your career, so let's take for example you're in the banking space and you come in as a graduate trainee, there is so much ground to play around, right? There is enough space to make mistakes, to not be seen, and then still get promoted after like the normal counting time based off your performance review and all that kind of thing. But then as you go up the ladder, the space becomes smaller. So let's say you started from down here where you guys are like 200, and then up here there's like 100. There's room for 100 people to be promoted. So you don't have to do too much. You don't have to be seen like that. You just have to do your work, and then your work will speak for you. Then you go up the ladder to a point where probably it's now time for them to promote someone to AGM or GM or something, right? At that point, it's just one space for 4 people. Now, the only reason why certain people get these positions over others, aside all the whatever we can call it, nepotism, racism, whatever happens, whatever that is, by default, right? We can say the person that plays office politics the best is the one who gets the position. Even if the 4 of you running for that position have the same skill level, or you have better skill compared to the other 3, if your office politics game is not year high, they will year down you. So, what do I mean by office politics in this case? It means putting yourself in the faces of the stakeholders who are in charge of decision making, especially as it pertains to your growth in the organization. So, if it's a team lead, your country manager, your branch manager, your supervisor, whatever it is, right? They need to see you and see your work. If you're assigned a task, complete it on time, complete it well, and then try to speak about it when you have the chance to. Yeah, I think I've exhausted what I wanted to talk about. So, the essence of this video is just to talk about visibility. Try as much as possible to get things done, get them done on time, get them done well, and have your stakeholders either involved in the process or make them understand the process you use to get these things done. This is also speaking to me myself, because as much as I've tried to be more visible these days, even at work, I'm still struggling with carrying stakeholders along with what I do, and also getting certain things done on time, because I have like this amount of work to do, and most times I just engross myself in trying to do this amount of work and trying to get this amount of work done. Yes, I get almost all of them done at the end of the day, but it gets to a point where everyone starts questioning, like, what are you really doing about these things? And then at that point, the funny thing is, it's when I'm almost done with all these amount of things that I'm working on, that it will start raising questions like, okay, what's going on? Why is it not done? Why is this not done? Why is that not done? And then by the next day, I can come back and say, this is done. Everything probably would be done by the next day. But because I'm doing these things at the same time, I have so many eyes on me, and then they're expecting A to be done, B to be done, C to be done. At least one of them should be done, right? But because I'm doing A to F at the same time, and I'm trying to get A to F to be completed around the same time, and then it's now looking like nothing happening. So what I've learned is do A, complete, let everyone know that A is complete and this is what had to be done for A to be complete. Pick up B, complete, move to C, complete, move to D, complete. And then as I'm going through these processes, I'm going to try to carry my stakeholders along. So if it's my product manager or project manager, as the case may be, or it's a team lead or engineering lead or CTO, whoever it is that is a stakeholder for that task or for that organization and is directly related to what I am working on at the time, right? I'm saying I because literally advising myself also as I'm doing this video right now. And I know that if I come back to this video in like a year or 2 years from now, I should have been able to put myself in a position where my stakeholders know what I'm doing, what I'm like doing at every point in time, and then they understand. And when I say this is a mango, they won't ask too much questions, right? Not being visible makes it such that when you say this is a mango, someone else can raise their hand and say, no, I think it looks like an apple. But when you're visible and your work is visible, when you say this is a mango, then everyone just agrees that this is a mango, even if it's an orange. So the good thing it does is it helps you stay on top of your game, and I think it also allows you to get respected. There's a part of not doing too much and also not being too forward. So I don't know I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try and be very careful. So while I am trying to get my work done and accurately done, I'm also going to try to not be too forward when I'm making it known that this is what I did and this is what I had to do. And also try not to push anyone down in between. Like, so there's this thing my lecturer mentioned, that when there's office politics, right, there's positive politics and there's negative politics. Positive politics is you know where you want to get to, and then you put in conscious effort the right way by doing your work and making it visible, right? There's also the negative way, that is where you're trying to push others down so you can climb up. So take for example, someone made a mistake on their own task, right? And then you got to correct it. His example was, rather than go out there and say, oh, this person was the one that did this kind of thing here, oh, and I've had to correct it, and this is what I did to correct it. That's literally you making people lose trust in the other person to put yourself out there. It is very wrong. So what he said was, rather than do that, you can say, oh, this issue was as a result of this kind of problem. So take for example, I'm in the engineering space, so I can say the reason why our customers weren't getting their virtual accounts on time was because there was a little bug in the virtual account generation system. But I've been able to, I did some research on how best we can handle it, and I've been able to sort out the bug and also improved the response time of the virtual account service. And I've tested it, it's responding around say 300 milliseconds to generate an account number, or 100 milliseconds to generate a virtual account number. So going forward, we should not have issues with our virtual account system anymore. Case one is me pointing hands at someone and saying this was the person that did not allow our virtual account system work. He was the one that wrote the virtual account system, and he did not notice that this bug will make the virtual account system generate only one virtual account every 5 minutes. Case two is me saying I saw a possible way to improve our virtual account system, and I have done it and tested it, and this is the results. Without putting someone else down, I have spoken up in such a way that people now understand that I have done something good and what I did is beneficial to everyone, without having to throw someone else under the bus. So I hope that they have actually passed a quality message on visibility, because I'm really struggling with visibility myself, and I'm trying to improve on it. So I'm hoping that this video also helps someone else who is struggling with visibility at work, in life in general. I don't know. But I hope that this video helps someone else out there, and you can drop your comments if you have other opinions on how to be more visible at work or in church, whatever it is. Just like let me know. And if you have any questions around how to be visible, if you have an experience, you can share in the comment section, and I would pick the brains of my professors in school and my colleagues. Those guys are very intelligent, by the way. Shout out to LBS, MMBS 7 guys. I mean, like, these guys are intelligent. Ah, like sometimes I'm in class and they are just saying a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, yay. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you have any issues like me with visibility at work, and I will try to, respond in my best ability, and also get my classmates to say one or two things. And if we are not addressing your issue well enough, then I can talk to a professor, and pick his brain. I mean, last is for our benefit. I'll also learn from it. So yeah, thank you very much. If you stayed to the end of this video, you're an MVP. Okay, so I don't know what I'll do in my next video. I'm just, like I said, this YouTube channel is just for me to come and say anything I feel like saying. So bye.